in a group dynamic, especially when that lady keeps flapping her mouth constantly.
Shut the
By the time we got back, honestly, their behaviour at social settings is boganic.
You talk as though you're above them.
Am I surprised that Clint and Lauren are gone? No. Clint was being driven like a bus, and sadly, he's tarnished his own sort of image on the show by following this lady down the rabbit hole, all in the name of supporting your partner. There are times where you have to call out your partner. You can't always agree with what they're saying. It makes me question what she said to him that's made him decide to be a rider for life and decide to sort of go against his morals and his ethics. The audacity to be swearing and throwing F-bombs at girls doesn't make sense to me. And then I feel like Karina was saved by the experts. I feel she should have been held to account for labeling the girls mean girls, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And also, yes, Jamie was held to account, but what about everybody else? What happened to Lauren's being, yeah, they did hold her to account. Jamie at least apologized after she was held to account. People like Lauren walked out without an apology. People like Karina sat there like a princess without apologizing, even though she was happy to receive Jamie's apology. I don't think she was happy at the same time, but anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight Australia, Season 12, Episode 25. Okay, I'm going to start by saying, I know people were saying in the comments, oh, you know, Lauren is entitled to her privacy. If she doesn't want to discuss her relationship, she doesn't need to discuss it with these girls. Sadly, that's not what happens on reality TV. She's on a dating show where they're expected to explore connections with people, where they are expected to discuss those connections with the rest of the group. This is why they have a guys' night and a girls' night, because they want the ladies to come together and discuss their relationships and where they stand. They want the same thing for the guys. If she didn't want this, she could have stayed at home. Nobody pulled her to come back to the show. Not once, but twice. She could have stayed her ass at home and found herself a guy, and no one would go to her house and knock on the door and say, what's going on with your guy? So the audacity to think that she should have privacy on this show, I don't want to say she's being delusional, but it is what it is. Anyway, you have everybody is sort of reeling, their heads are reeling from the night before because a lot went down. And the main event was the Jamie and Karina situation. What am I going to say? I'm always, at this point in time, I am Team Jamie. When you put Lauren and Jamie together, I'm Team Jamie, because Jamie only reacted to Lauren calling her names and calling her a bohemian or bogey or whatever, trailer trash. That's how, it's not like Jamie just came in and started shouting for no apparent reason. So I'm Team Jamie. When it comes to Jamie and Karina, I'm Team Jamie. Because at the end of the day, if Karina understood what had happened and if she was remorseful for not backing up her friend, she would have done what Reed did, but she didn't. Anyway, you have Jamie's feeling some type of way because at the end of the day, she didn't expect the reaction that she got from her friends. And because of the situation at the dinner party, she's able to sort of decipher who is my friend and who's not. And sadly, Karina and her, the road to their friendship seems to have come to an end. What do I say? I say people are in your life for some time. There's never a guarantee that somebody's going to be in your life for the rest of your life. You're both on a journey. When you come to the crossroad, you part ways and you go. And it seems with Jamie and Karina, this is the situation. I feel like Karina, yes, no one is stopping her from going to console Lauren, but she should not have then turned around and said one of her friends was attacking Lauren. That doesn't make sense. If you are closer to Jamie than you are to Lauren, how are you throwing your friend under the bus? Which is what she did at the resort. And then she did the same thing at the dinner party where she called the girls mean girls. And when they started sort of questioning her that, why are you calling us mean girls? That's when she started crying and saying, I can't explain myself. So Jamie is right to feel how she feels and she's entitled to her opinion. She has had some sleep. She knows she had a dirty mouth. She's remorseful for some of the words that came out of her mouth, but standing up for herself, she's not remorseful. For people to say Jamie is a bully, Jamie is this, we all saw Jamie fighting for Lauren's battle when Lauren was played by Elliot, irregardless of the fact that Lauren made a sarcastic remark about Jamie on day one. We also saw Jamie fight for Katie when Katie was going head to head with that man. Even Karina, Jamie apparently fought for Paul. I think people must have been saying whatever they said, and she stood by her friend and supported her friend and her wall-punching husband. So I understand how she feels. Karina is busy moaning to Paul, oh, I'm worried, I'm concerned. And it's like, madam, you've got someone who's punched the wall right next to you. You're holding hands with them, and yet you're afraid of Jamie's words. Make that make sense. Someone who's physically attacked something is more safer for you than someone who's held your feet to the fire. Make that make sense? I think Karina is trying to play victim. I think she knows that because she's been very quiet, people are more inclined to sort of lean towards her way. And because Jamie is very loud, people are going to sort of turn against Jamie. Do I think Jamie's the villain in this story? No, I don't. And it's surprising that you have people like Ryan and Jackie actually sticking up for Jamie. And it's like, where are Jamie's friends? Are they really her friends, or were they looking for an excuse to turn on her? Make that make sense? Everyone is asking whether Lauren and Clint are coming to the event. I don't care. I'm with Jamie. I don't care. They might as well just pack their bags and go home. They've met each other. They're married. They're a couple. They can go home. They don't need to be on the show since they want their privacy and they don't want anyone else to know what's going on in their relationship. The interesting thing about this commitment ceremony is the credibility for two people really went, three people actually went down the drain. Karina, Lauren, and Clint. So you have everybody turn up. The guys come in first and the ladies follow in afterwards. Karina is right at the back, and then she gets there. They're the last people standing. She's being kissed. She's being consoled. They're putting on a performance, in my opinion. They're putting on a performance. And even Jamie saw it and made a sarcastic remark because they're putting on a performance that she's nervous. She's very anxious. She's whatever. And it's like, last week you came with a man whose hand was injured from punching the wall, and you were strolling in and smiling and holding hands with him. Suddenly, the fact that your feet are held to the fire by somebody and their voice was loud, you're now so intimidated, you are afraid, you can't even do anything. They're putting on a performance. This is what I have to say about Karina and Paul. Karina and Paul know that Paul is going to get a negative edit. He's going to leave the show as the villain for punching the wall. So they're now trying to make it seem like he's actually an angel and Jamie's the villain. This is the impression that I get, that they're spinning it so that when they leave the show, they don't leave with a bad edit. Somebody else leaves with a bad edit, because there was no need for all that performance. Anyway, everybody's asking, where is Lauren and Clint? Where's Lauren and Clint? They stroll in, and you have Dave. I think that was a bit too much on Dave's part, because he stood up, he clapped for them, he welcomed them in, and he asked them, where were you last night? We didn't see you. What happened? Where were you last night? They said, we were at home, we had our cocktail hour, and then we had our dinner party, blah, blah, blah. And you can see the tension, because people are not really feeling their presence. So John calls them across to the couch, and they sit down. There's this massive back and forth with everybody calling them out for their behavior, which is appalling. For Lauren to call people bogans and say, she was asked by John, what does that mean? She went, that's bogan behavior, bogans, that's bogan. I am happy that her feet were held to the fire. I'm happy that the experts told her that you are patronizing these people. You're belittling them. You're making them feel inferior, as though you're better than them. She was asked face to face by Mel, do you think you're better than these people? She couldn't say yes or no because she knows how it looks. I'm happy that she carried herself the way she did, because this is not a good look. I'm happy that the experts asked her that, when Elliot left you and you came in, everybody rallied around you and they supported you and they were championing for you because they felt bad for you. And now suddenly those same people that were championing for you have turned on you. Why do you think they've turned on you? Oh, I don't know. We can't stand to be around them. They are this, that, and the other. Lauren has a lot of problems. And I think her sister is actually the milder version of Lauren. I think in full display without cameras, she's actually worse, because she said, oh, people are always misunderstand me. I'm just shy. How are you shy when you're calling people names? How are you shy when you're sitting there and your partner is telling people to F up and you're not sort of holding him back? She must have done a lot more. Elliot must have seen something, and this is why he chose that I'd rather stay single than to be with this woman. And sadly, her edit from her first marriage to Elliot didn't show us the truth. I wish they'd shown us the truth of her behavior during that time. That way, this time we would have had a response. I know things don't work out with Clint. Clint looked like an idiot because he was asked, what is your goal? Do you plan on continuing things once you leave? And he sort of muttered whatever he muttered, and everybody felt sorry for him. The guys asked him, Clint, this is not what you said. Even Ryan made sense because Ryan said to him, during the retreat, you said you really liked Lauren, you were hoping to explore this connection, blah, blah. And now you're saying, it is what it is. I have a feeling that there's something she was holding against Clint's head. Whether she said something to make her story more believable, whether I don't know exactly what she did. Whatever she did, she must have sort of given him such a sob story that he felt the need to protect her. There was no need for him to protect her. All he needed to do was just come in, sit beside her, stand beside her, just yes, dear, no, dear, and he would have left with a perfect edit. Now his edit is terrible because he sat there and he swore at the ladies, not once, but several times. And then he's made some sarcastic remarks that are not necessary at all. Lauren knew how bad it was when Elliot left her, and she's made sure, as Elliot said, that when she leaves with Clint, and it appears as though they've both made the decision to leave. And this grown man to be sort of driven like a car by this woman and be told what to say and what to do doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And I'm surprised that he couldn't see through everything everybody was saying. And he just sat there. They both wrote leave, and after writing leave, they both walked out the door, and the experts were like, you can't just leave, and everybody said no, they can leave, we're good. And this makes an idiot out of people like Karina who are defending her, because now she's walked out the door. What's Karina's excuse for that? Next up is Adrian and Aina. Adrian was very vocal in this Lauren situation. So it's nice to see him, be calm now that she's left. Anyway, they sit down with Aina. They are in a very good space. They say the couple's retreat was good for them. It was good because I think because of all the drama with Lauren and Clint, this is why they must have been separated with Jamie. What I mean is I think Adrian and Aina got to go to the beach and Jamie and Dave got to go shopping. So it's cute that they're back together. They're working on their connection. If I didn't know the baggage, the history that comes with the two of them, then I'd say that's amazing. But the fact that you've had this man say some of the most selfish or most what word can I use? Some of the sort of most mean things about his partner is why I'm not buying their reconciliation, because it's only a matter of time until something else happens. They talk about the fact that when they made up, they had sex within 24 hours. And it makes you question, is this connection only a physical connection, or is it a connection whereby people actually have emotional connection and there's growth emotionally? I don't think so. I think they're just there. Adrian is there to be on TV and is there to have an amazing time. And when the time comes, he's just going to call it quits. And I hope Aina is aware of this, and I hope she's prepared for this, because there's no way this marriage is lasting past the experiment. I would be surprised. It would take a lot of breaking down of Aina and her family sort of leaving her alone, but I can't wait. They need to separate. Anyway, they both choose to stay. Anybody surprised? No? I never want to side-eye the experts, but at this point I am side-eyeing them. I am, because some of the things that they say and they do don't make sense. Anyway, next up is Ryan and Jackie. Ryan and Jackie seem to be doing very well, and I think Jackie wanting the drama, although Ryan told her that the next time you bring up this thing about testosterone or whatever, we're done. She decides to bring it up, and it's like, why are we discussing this in the group with the experts? It didn't make sense. So you had Alexandra sort of ask him, why do you feel the need to not pleasure your woman? You could pleasure her without, you releasing your testosterone. And it's like, seriously, he didn't get it. TJ got it. He didn't. You could tell Ryan was confused. He didn't quite get it. And I don't know whether he got it by the time he left. They had this back and forth about, Jackie's comments in regards to this testosterone comment. And Ryan was sort of trying to say to her, I don't like it when you keep repeating this. I wish you would stop. And so you had the experts call him out and say, you sound like a teacher, you sound like you want to punish her and whatever. And it's like, maybe that's the way they communicate. Yes, it sounds parental or authoritative, but still there's no need for it to be made such a big deal like he's being verbally abusive towards her. When you've all sat there and watched how Adrian treats Aina and nobody has said anything. So if you're going to be okay with the way Adrian treats Aina, then you need to keep quiet about the Jackie and Ryan situation. And it's not as bad as the Adrian and Aina situation that you're clapping for and you said they're doing very well. So I don't understand how the experts are sort of able to look at two situations and be harsher on the situation on one situation than the other, because I don't think Ryan deserved all that. It wasn't as bad as what Adrian has done to Afina. Not that I'm saying that it's a good thing that he's behaving that way, but still there needs to be some sort of some sort of equality when you're holding people to account. You can't just focus on one person just because you feel some type of way about them. At one point, Jackie was crying. After crying, they were asked, do you want to stay or leave? She said, stay. Ryan said, stay. Are we surprised? No. Veronica and Elliot are confusing for me. I think they've been bitten by the Jackie and Ryan bug this episode because their session didn't make any sense. They're next on the couch. Veronica says they had a good, time at the couples retreat, but she felt she wasn't being herself. She felt that she was having to withhold herself, or she was holding herself back quite a bit. Elliot is now saying he feels like he's in a marriage with someone who doesn't like him. And it's like, I don't get it. And I'm side-eyeing her because I'm thinking, is she just saying this because she's worried that the experts might ask her what Jamie meant by her comment that she doesn't like her husband or something to that effect? And so Elliot brought up that Veronica, when we were having a tough week, she went and she spoke to my ex-wife, and it doesn't make sense to me that why would you speak to someone who obviously has no good intentions for our relationship. And I think it was just, most times you watch reality TV, you're confused, you think the edit is bad, but I don't think this was the edit, because you could even see it on Jeff's face. Jeff was just as confused as I was, because their argument or their sort of statements didn't make sense, given the fact that they both chose to stay, especially Veronica. She was saying she's not able to be herself because she feels that things won't turn out great, but at the same time she's happy to stay in this marriage and give it another week. And it's like, were they told that you need to have something to say on the couch, or did they actually have a problem that needed addressing? I don't think so. Elliot is suddenly coming across way better than he did in his first marriage, and I don't understand this. Is it because his edit has changed, or is it him as a character, as a person growing and becoming the best version of himself? I don't know. I'm side-eyeing him. Next up is Rhea and Jeff. Rhea and Jeff have always stayed out of people's business. Sadly, this time Rhea was unable to keep herself out of other people's business because she was caught in the middle. She was friends with Lauren and she was also friends with Jamie, but it seems she was way closer to Jamie than she was to Lauren, and she tried to sort of be there for everybody. I can buy her saying she wants to be Switzerland. I said this last week, that I can buy Rhea saying she tries to be Switzerland, but I cannot buy Karina saying she wants to be Switzerland. And sadly, you can still see it on her face that she feels uncomfortable. I think she was worried that she was going to have to be asked what to say, what happened, and whatever. So this was why she was anxious. The fact that you have Jeff saying he can see himself falling in love with her, I think there is that possibility. I think there is a strong possibility that they could fall in love or they could be in love. I like that they didn't go into detail about everybody else's drama, but focused on the two of them. I don't think anyone is surprised that they chose to stay, because they were always going to choose to stay anyway. So this is not a surprise. Up is Beth and TJ. Beth and TJ were shocking for me, because Beth is saying that she has a feeling that TJ is not attracted to her. And it's like, are we saying this because we want a storyline, or are we saying this because this is the truth? Because I thought they were easygoing. I thought they were always making out. I thought they were always cuddling. So this is surprising for me to hear. And I think it's even surprising for TJ himself, because he says, I always give her words of affirmation. I always do acts of service. I always tell her, how I feel. She says she waits for the man to initiate. He says, although he initiates, he also wants her to initiate. And it's like, it's just a poor communication. It's just poor communication. I think they're physically attracted to one another. I think it's a matter of I've already said this before, that TJ is used to arranged marriages and he's happy that he's been matched with someone he likes. And so it's up to her to sort of step up to the plate and sort of step out of her shell, because she says she likes the guy to initiate, and see what happens when she initiates. Does he react or does he not? If he doesn't, then there's a problem. If he does, then they're cooking with gas. They both chose to stay. Are we surprised? No. They were always going to stay because they seem to be doing very well. Next up is Karina and Paul. And personally, I think it's a setup for Jamie. That's what I'm going to say, because Rhea apologized. We never heard her sort of be asked, how did you feel last night? How did you feel about making amends with Jamie? How did that go? No, they wanted to play it as though Karina is the victim and Jamie is the villain. That's the impression that I get. Because at the end of the day, for her to say, I felt silenced, I felt, like my trauma was reawakened because as a baby of 5, I never got to speak to speak out my opinion. I feel like I'm not smart enough. I'm not this. Jamie did not say that to you. You feel that way about yourself. That is not Jamie. Don't place whatever you feel on Jamie just because you feel like you don't measure up to the rest of the group. That's not her place to sort of try and sort of build up where you are lacking. That is your job to work on that. That is your family's job that made you feel less than to help you work on. You can't blame your insufficiency on somebody else. I didn't like that, and I didn't like that she made it feel like she was the victim. Jamie was right to ask her that, but last time when I was fighting for you and your husband, we all know everybody felt some type of way about Paul. And she's asking when? And it's like, I can't wait for Jamie to do an interview. I really can't, because I know when she does interviews, she's going to speak her truth and she's going to tell us the truth of, I hope somebody asks her, what did you mean by you fought for Karina and her husband? Because at the end of the day, they are two villains who are now trying to use or trying to capitalize on somebody else's situation. That way they're sort of in discrepancy, or the issues that they had are sort of pale in comparison to what's happening. That way, when the show ends, Jamie's going to be this villain and her husband will be someone who just had a minor little incident. I understand the police are now involved in the Paul situation, and personally, I don't feel like the way Karina is saying, I was brought into something that I had no involvement in, something that I was innocent of. No, you're brought in because you said the other girls attacked Lauren. You're brought in because you said the other girls were mean girls. Take responsibility for your actions and the words that came out of your mouth. They both chose to stay surprised now. Next on the couch is Jamie and Dave. And you have Karina sit up because she can't wait for Jamie to be told off. Obviously, Jamie talks about they addressed Jamie's regret about the things that came out of her mouth. But I also hate that she was being held to account for things that other people were not held to account for, in the sense that Karina is responsible for the labels that she placed on the girls. She's responsible for that. She should have been called for that. Lauren should have been called out. Yes, she was called out, but I don't think she was called enough for the things that she said about the girls. The only person that I think is someone who should not have been in any trouble at all is Ree. Because Ree never said anything malicious or vindictive or anything terrible or demeaning about the girls. She tried to be Switzerland. She is the one who deserved an apology. So you had Alexandra sort of hold Jamie's feet to the fire. I guess where she's coming from when she says that, Lauren is the one who started this and she wasn't there at the dinner party when everybody was tearing each other apart. Lauren is the one who started this and she wasn't there. She's not here now as you are being held to account for your actions. And so Jamie apologizing, I get it. She already said in her apartment that she felt bad about the things that she had said. She felt uncomfortable with some of the words that came out of her mouth. And for her to make a sincere apology to Karina and Karina not apologize as well doesn't make sense. It shows me that Karina is very performative. Karina is there just wanting to leave there like, the sweetheart, the darling sweetheart of the experiment. At the end of the day, she did and she said things that hurt her friend. She should have apologized the same way Jamie apologized. Yes, I'm not saying I am Team Jamie because at the end of the day, Jamie had to defend herself. I am sure that everybody else defended themselves, but the producers decided to make Jamie the villain because she is the one with the loudest voice. Karina was right to tell her that at times having the loudest voice doesn't always mean that you're heard. At times, you don't always. I always believe that you don't need to say every single thought that comes to your mind. You need to be mindful of the things that are coming out of your mouth. At the end of the day, you don't need just to yap your lips just because you have lips to yap. So I understand Jamie taking responsibility. I understand her and appreciate her for apologizing, but I have lost all respect for Karina because Karina did what she did and didn't find it within herself to apologize, which I don't get. The fact that when Jamie apologized, I think she was taken aback because now she has no excuse. Jamie's taken responsibility for her actions. She's apologized for the words that came out of her mouth. And now Karina cannot use that against her because everyone is going to say, we saw her apologize. We saw her take responsibility for her actions. So they are back to the drawing board with her husband. They are now having to find another villain. I don't know. I have an awful taste in my mouth about the whole incident, and I wish it had been sort of handled a bit better. I wish, the 3 ladies or the 4 ladies involved in this situation, with Afina, the 5 ladies involved in this situation had been called to account. I would like to think that other people spoke up and said exactly how Jamie was done wrong in this whole situation, but I'm happy that she and her husband are doing well. She said she loves him. I have a feeling he said he loved her back, but it wasn't shown, because obviously if they don't show that, then there's nothing else for them to tell us, or there's no other storyline for Jamie and Dave. So I'm happy that Jamie and Dave stayed, and I'm also happy that Lauren and Clint left, because it was time. It was time. I think Lauren would have stayed in the experiment had Elliot not come in and brought in someone a lot better. I think the fact that he got an upgrade and she got a downgrade is something that she couldn't get over, and so this is why she decided she wanted to leave, and she wanted to leave on a high. This is why she persuaded this silly man to leave with her and say yes. I can't wait to see what happens in the partner swap, because apparently next episode is partner swap. So I can't wait to see what happens in that. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 24. Bye guys.